Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Anubha Rohatgi and with me is Nishit Kumar with the evening news. The headlines. India and US reaffirm their commitment to promote regional stability and rule of law at 4th 2+2 ministerial dialogue. Minister of Cooperation Amit Shah emphasizes on need for transparency in cooperative sector to increase trust of small farmers in it. India, first country in the world to administer first dose of COVID vaccine to 97% of people above age of 18 years, says Health and Family Welfare Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia. Minister of State for Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions, Dr. Jitendra Singh announces setting up of single window portal for benefit of pensioners and superannuated elder citizens. Government to set up additional 300 one-stop centers across the country to enhance safety and security of women, says Union Minister for Women and Child Development Smriti Irani. In Uttar Pradesh, BJP registers thumping victory in State Legislative Council by winning 33 seats, including 9 unopposed out of 36 vacant seats. And in IPL cricket, match between Royal Challengers Bengaluru and Chennai Super Kings underway at Dr. D.Y. Patil Sports Academy in Navi Mumbai. India and the US reaffirmed their commitment to promote regional stability and rule of law at the 4th 2+2 ministerial dialogue held in Washington last night. Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh and External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar led the Indian delegation. The US delegation was led by Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. The dialogue enabled both sides to undertake a comprehensive review of cross-cutting issues in the India-US bilateral agenda related to foreign policy, defense and security. Addressing media after the talks, Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh said both nations have shared goals to achieve, and it is great that the world's two biggest democracies share same views on almost all world issues. During the meeting, they also discussed assessments of the Indian Ocean region and its neighbors. Mr. Singh said that they also discussed about terrorism being used as an instrument of statecraft against India. He said India's Department of Space and the US Department of Defense have concluded a space situational awareness agreement. An agreement on defense space and defense artificial intelligence dialogues has also been reached. He urged American companies to come and invest in India and support the Make in India program.
भारत और अमेरिका के बीच एक स्ट्रेटेजिक रिलेशनशिप है क्योंकि दोनों एक दूसरे के स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनर हैं और मैंने यह आग्रह किया है अमेरिका से कि अमेरिका आकर भारत में यहाँ पर फोकस करे विशेष रूप से को डेवलपमेंट और को प्रोडक्शन पर। यहाँ की जो OEMs हैं वो भारत में आए, उनका स्वागत है क्योंकि भारत में एक निर्णय है मेक इन इंडिया और मेक फॉर द वर्ल्ड। भारत को यदि हम सेल्फ रिलायंट बनाना चाहते हैं तो।
In his address to the media, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar said, India buys some energy from Russia necessary for its energy security. He, however, added that India's purchases for the month would be less than what Europe makes in an afternoon.
If you are looking at energy purchases from Russia, I would suggest that your attention should be focused on Europe. We do buy some energy which is necessary for our energy security, but I suspect looking at the figures, probably our total purchases for the month would be less than what Europe does in an afternoon. So you might want to think about it.
US Secretary of State Antony Blinken said India has to make its own decisions about how it approaches the Ukraine challenge. US Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin said President Joe Biden truly values strong alliances and partnerships like the one with India. Earlier, during a virtual interaction with US President Joe Biden last evening, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said the India-US friendship would be an integral part of India's development journey for the next 25 years.
आपने अपने कार्यकाल के शुरू में ही एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण स्लोगन दिया था, डेमोक्रेसी कैन डिलीवर। भारत और अमेरिका की पार्टनरशिप की सफलता इस स्लोगन को सार्थक करने का सबसे उत्तम जरिया है। इस साल भारत अपनी स्वतंत्रता की 75वां वर्षगांठ मना रहा है और हम अपने डिप्लोमेटिक रिलेशंस की 75वीं सालगिरह भी मना रहे हैं। मुझे विश्वास है कि भारत की अगले 25 सालों की विकास यात्रा में अमेरिका के साथ हमारी मित्रता एक अभिन्न अंग रहेगी।
Mr. Modi said India and the US are natural partners as they are two of the biggest democracies of the world. Prime Minister Modi said the talks were being held at a time when the situation in Ukraine remains worrisome. He said India placed importance on the safety of the civilian population in Ukraine and the uninterrupted supply of humanitarian aid to them, including medicines and relief materials. Mr. Modi stated that the recent killings of innocent civilians in Bucha city of Ukraine was very worrying. In his opening remarks, US President Joe Biden said India and the US are two vibrant democracies which share a strong and growing major defense partnership. He said continued consultation and dialogue are the key to ensure that the India-US partnership continues to grow stronger.
The first ever consultations between India and France on West Asia and North Africa region were held in virtual mode today. They were co-chaired by the Ambassador Anne Gurgin, Director of the Middle East and North Africa Directorate, Ministry for Europe and Foreign Affairs, France, and Dr. Pradeep Singh Rajpurohit, Joint Secretary, External Affairs Ministry. The two sides had wide-ranging discussions on respective priorities, areas of mutual interest, and exchanged views on major issues including the political, security, economic and trade dimensions of the West Asia and North Africa region. Both sides agreed to further strengthen their cooperation in the region and to continue the discussions periodically. Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla today convened the first meeting of the Inter-Ministerial Coordination Group, IMCG, for comprehensive management of relations with neighbouring countries. External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said in a tweet that the IMCG provided a comprehensive direction with a whole-of-government approach to promote better connectivity, stronger interlinkages and greater people-to-people connect with India's neighbours.
The Government of India and the Asian Development Bank today signed a $2 million project readiness financing loan for designing climate-resilient urban infrastructure, strengthening institutional capacity and improving municipal resource mobilization in 16 district headquarters towns in Nagaland. Minister of Cooperation Amit Shah has emphasized the need for transparency in cooperative sector to increase trust of small farmers in it. Addressing the National Conference on Cooperation Policy in New Delhi today, Mr. Shah said cooperatives need to be developed to meet current-day challenges and the new cooperation policy will be ready in the next 8 to 9 months.
पूरा मुनाफा उसके स्टेक होल्डर्स के पास चला जाए और मिनिमम मैनेजमेंट का खर्चा ही हो, ये केवल और केवल कोऑपरेटिव के माध्यम से होता है। तो देश का एक ऐसा तबका जो 60-70 करोड़ का है, जो आर्थिक विकास की दृष्टि से पिछड़ा हुआ है, उसको आर्थिक रूप से संपन्न बनाना है तो कोऑपरेटिव एकमात्र मॉडल ऐसा है जो देश के 80 करोड़ लोगों को आर्थिक रूप से संपन्न बना सके। हमें पारदर्शिता लानी पड़ेगी, तभी जाकर छोटे से छोटे किसान का भरोसा हम पर बढ़ेगा।
Mr. Shah also called for professionalism and modernization of the sector, emphasizing the need to strengthen cooperative sector for the economic empowerment of the country. The minister said there is a need to build infrastructure to ensure loans for cooperative bodies.
Health and Family Welfare Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia said India is the first country in the world to administer the first dose of COVID vaccines to 97% of the people above the age of 18 years. He said 85% of the people have already taken the second dose. While briefing media in the BJP headquarters today, Dr. Mandavia said over 5 crore 77 lakh people in the age group of 15 to 18 years have been given the first dose and 3 crore 98 lakh people have been administered the second dose. Appreciating the country's COVID management and vaccination drive, he said the world witnessed the mention of India's COVID management and vaccination drive in the Vaccine Global Alliance meeting in Geneva. He said the world was amazed to see that 2.5 crore vaccine doses were administered in a day in the country, which is not a small deal. More than 185 crore 90 lakh COVID vaccine doses have been administered in the country so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. The Health Minister said more than 15 lakh 65,000 doses were administered in the last 24 hours. India's active caseload currently stands at 10,889 and it is at 0.03%. The recovery rate is currently at 98.76%.
The Science and Technology Minister, Dr. Jitendra Singh, today announced setting up of single window portal for benefit of pensioners and superannuated elder citizens. The minister was addressing the 32nd meeting of Standing Committee of Voluntary Agencies for Review and Rationalization of Pension Rules 2021. He said the portal will not only enable constant contact with pensioners, but will also regularly receive inputs, suggestions and grievances for prompt response. Union Minister for Women and Child Development, Mrs. Smriti Irani, today said efforts are on to set up additional 300 one-stop centers, OSCs, across the country that will enhance safety and security of women. Addressing the inaugural session of Zonal Conference of State Governments and Stakeholders of Western Region in Mumbai, Mrs. Irani said close to 70 lakh women have already received assistance via the Women's Helpline and the 704 one-stop centers that are currently operational across states. These OSCs provide integrated support and facilitate immediate emergency and non-emergency access to a range of services, including medical, legal, psychological and counseling support under one roof to fight against any forms of violence against women. Talking about Mission Shakti, the minister said the government led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi has approved projects worth 9,000 crore rupees under the Nirbhaya Fund. Mrs. Irani said India is the only nation that has integrated the gender component in its intergovernmental fiscal transfers.
इस साल के बजट में मात्र महिलाओं संबंधी स्कीमों में आवंटन में 14% का इजाफा हुआ है. The Union Budget 2022-23 has allocated 1,71,000 crores only for women in our country. We are the first government and country which has integrated the gender component in our intergovernmental fiscal transfers.
Union Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia has said that the Northeast region has always been a high priority for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The minister informed that his department is all set to deploy additional 107 commercial aircrafts in the country within this year only, out of which operation of about 25 is earmarked for northeastern states including Arunachal Pradesh. Launching the operation of the first Dornier 228 aircraft at Pasighat Airport in Arunachal Pradesh today, Mr. Scindia said the central government is planning to boost the air connectivity of the northeastern region. He added that the region will be connected with commercial fixed-wing flight services with the mainland of the country as well as other parts of the globe. Union Jal Shakti Minister Gajendra Singh Shekhawat today said that the country's future will be bright if the present generation thinks seriously on the issue of water conservation. Addressing the India Water Vision 2040, a National Water Summit conference in Mumbai, Mr. Shekhawat also asked for a comprehensive deliberations on water conservation. Appealing for the conservation of each drop of water, Mr. Shekhawat said it is crucial for people to understand the importance of saving water, as the same is essential to achieve the goal of self-reliance.
हमने 700 जिलों में जो काम किया, 4 महीने के बारिश के समय में पानी के संरक्षण संचय को लेकर के 2 लाख से ज्यादा स्ट्रक्चर्स देश में बनाए गए और लगभग 65,000 करोड़ रुपया जो है पानी के सेक्टर पर निवेश किया गया.
The minister reiterated that by 2024, each and every household will have drinking water connection.
Union Minister of Heavy Industries, Dr. Mahendranath Pandey, today inaugurated the Diamond Jubilee celebrations of the Central Manufacturing Technology Institute, Cmti, in Bengaluru today. Speaking on the occasion, the minister said this institute has not only contributed to the research, innovation and technology development in the country, but also achieved excellence in skill development by empowering fresh engineers and making them industry ready.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. India and US affirm their commitment to promote regional stability and rule of law at the 4th 2+2 Ministerial Dialogue. Minister of Cooperation Amit Shah emphasizes on need for transparency in cooperative sector to increase trust of small farmers in it. India, the first country in the world to administer the first dose of COVID vaccine to 97% of people above the age of 18 years, says Health and Family Welfare Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia. Minister of State for Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions, Dr. Jitendra Singh announces setting up of single window portal for the benefit of pensioners and superannuated elder citizens. government to set up additional 300 one-stop centers across the country to enhance safety and security of women, says Union Minister for Women and Child Development Smriti Irani. In Uttar Pradesh, BJP registers thumping victory in State Legislative Council by winning 33 seats, including 9 unopposed out of 36 vacant seats. And in IPL cricket, match between Royal Challengers Bengaluru and Chennai Super Kings underway at Dr. D.Y. Patil Sports Academy in Navi Mumbai. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
कंपटीशन की अगर आप कर रहे हैं तैयारी, तो उनके लिए ऑल इंडिया रेडियो पर हम लाए हैं अभ्यास, एक ऐसा कार्यक्रम जिसमें आप पूछेंगे सवाल व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर, या फिर ईमेल करेंगे abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर, और हमारे विशेषज्ञ देंगे इसका जवाब। अगले अंक का विषय है ज्योग्राफी यानी कि भूगोल, और हमारे एक्सपर्ट हैं प्रोफेसर अमृता बजाज। सवाल भेजने की अंतिम तारीख है 13 अप्रैल। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
Welcome back to the evening news. In Uttar Pradesh, the ruling BJP has registered thumping victory in the biennial elections of the Legislative Council. The ruling party won 33 seats out of 36 vacant seats. The BJP won 24 of the 27 seats for which counting took place today. It has already unanimously won 9 of the 36 council seats, as these were contested unopposed. BJP President JP Nadda today said that his party's victory in Uttar Pradesh MLC elections is the approval of the double-engine government in the state. In a tweet, Mr. Nadda said that after the UP Assembly polls, the BJP has created history by registering a landslide victory in the Legislative Council elections. He congratulated all the newly elected members. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated all the winning candidates in the Uttar Pradesh Legislative Council elections. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said, "This victory is a result of people's faith in BJP's development model."
To achieve the goal of reaching out to the people living in the far-flung and border areas through the platform of DD Free Dish, the government has proposed to distribute 1.5 lakh free dishes in such areas where cable service is not available. Union Secretary, Information and Broadcasting Ministry Apurva Chandra said this in a function at Kangan subdivision in Central Kashmir's Ganderbal district.
फ्री डिश एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण सरकार का कार्यक्रम है, और जिसमें हमारा एफर्ट है कि बॉर्डर एरियाज के अंदर फ्री डिश ज्यादा से ज्यादा पहुंचे, क्योंकि वहां पर बाकी साधन पहुंचना बहुत मुश्किल होता है। और अभी केंद्र सरकार ने एक योजना मंजूर करी है जिसमें लगभग 1.5 लाख फ्री डिश रिमोट एरियाज में बांटे जाएंगे। उसमें निश्चित ही कश्मीर के रिमोट एरियाज में भी काफी फ्री डिश दिए जाएंगे, और ये इसकी टेंडरिंग प्रक्रिया हमारे प्रसार भारती की तरफ से चालू है, और मुझे लगता है जल्दी ही ये हम पूरा कर पाएंगे।
Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri today launched Jigyasa, a quiz competition to celebrate Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav in New Delhi. Jigyasa intends to create awareness about India's rich cultural heritage, civilization, literature, architecture and inherited knowledge which has roots in ancient India. On this occasion, Mr. Puri said, in line with the spirit of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, Jigyasa is one of its kind quiz competition in which nearly 2 crore individuals are likely to participate globally. Winners of Jigyasa will be eligible for a scholarship of 10 lakh rupees each. Jigyasa would be accessible to all on the website www.akamquiz.com. It will be also available on a dedicated application as Jigyasa Quiz on Google Play Store, and the iOS application can be downloaded from the website itself.
And now let us listen to our special program Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
In today's episode, we remember martyrs Bholo and Molo, who participated in the Bhil Girasiya tribal uprising of 1922 in erstwhile Sirohi state. They were martyred while fighting against the British troops on 12th of April 1922.
Bholo and Molo participated in the Ekki movement that was launched to counter the harassment of tribals by the state officials. The movement sought to redress the grievances of tribals regarding the high rate of revenues and forced labor in the Sirohi state. The Bhils of Rohera and the Girasiyas of Chandela, Girwar and the neighboring villages of Siava defied the orders by carrying away crops from their fields without paying the state's dues.
Hearing the news of the tribal gathering, the state army and 200 soldiers of the British Army, led by Major Richards, reached the spot and opened fire on the agitators on 12th of April 1922 without any prior warning of dispersal. In the indiscriminate firing, Bholo and Molo and several other Girasiya agitators were killed. Simultaneously with this firing, the village was looted and set on fire by the troops. We salute the great martyrs.
We also remember Martyr Sarja, who took part in the First War of Indian Independence in 1857. He was caught while confronting their attacks and charged with mutiny and rebellion against the British authorities. He was sentenced to the imprisonment for life in 1857 and died in the Andaman Islands on the 12th of April 1859. We salute the great son of the soil.
We also remember the nationalist historian Rakhal Das Bandyopadhyay, who was born on 12th of April 1885 in Murshidabad district, West Bengal. He is best known as the discoverer of the antiquity of Mohenjo-daro, the principal site of the Indus Valley civilization, through excavations.
Rakhal Das worked at the Indian Museum, Calcutta, the Archaeological Survey of India and the Banaras Hindu University. Rakhal Das was a nationalist historian with a broad view of Indian civilization. Contributions of Rakhal Das in the fields of paleography and epigraphy are indeed great. His work, The Origin of the Bengali Script, was a pioneer attempt at tracing the development of Bangla script on the basis of inscriptions and manuscripts.
He also worked in the field of numismatics, giving a scientific account and critical analysis of the coins of ancient and early medieval India.
Bandyopadhyay is popular for unearthing pre-Buddhist artifacts at the ruins of Mohenjo-daro and for noting similarities between the site at Mohenjo-daro and Harappa.
His interpretations and analysis about the civilization were published in a number of articles and books such as An Indian City 5,000 Years Ago, Mohenjo-daro in Bangla, and Mohenjo-daro, A Forgotten Report. He also wrote many historical fictions.
Rakhal Das also worked on the ancient and early medieval sculptures and structural remains of Assam and discovered carvings of door jambs of a ruined temple at Dah Parvatiya near Tejpur.
Till his untimely death at the age of 45 years on 23rd of May 1930, Rakhal Das continued to work for unearthing the historical wonders of India. We salute the great nationalists.
आबोदी सुमला हामासे उनगे चेतन बंदे मातरम.
We also remember martyr Dharma Chhota Pahadia, a resident of Santhal Parganas, Jharkhand. He took on active part in the Quit India movement in 1942 and was arrested during the course of the movement. He died in Dumka jail on the 12th of April 1943. We salute the great son of the soil.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
FSSI has launched Food Safety Connect app for food business operators and consumers. Download this app from Google Play Store and easily apply for FSSAI registration. Consumers can use this app to register food-related complaints. The University Grant Commission is going to allow students to pursue 2 full-time degree programs simultaneously. This was announced by UGC Chairman Professor M. Jagadesh Kumar in a virtual meeting with media today.
Union Home Ministry has issued an advisory in the wake of a ropeway accident that happened in Deoghar district of Jharkhand. The ministry has stressed on the need to have a detailed standard operating procedure and a contingency plan on ropeway operations to prevent occurrence of any such incident in future. In a letter written to Chief Secretaries of all states, Union Home Secretary Ajay Bhalla said operation and maintenance of ropeway projects need to be scrupulously adhered to. Union Home Secretary has urged the states to take a review of the situation in respect of all the ropeway projects and ensure that standard operating procedures, contingency plans for operation and maintenance of ropeways and system of safety audits are in place. In US, at least 13 people have been injured in a shootout at a subway station in Brooklyn, New York. The law enforcement officials said the injured have been admitted to various hospitals in the area after what police think was a lone wolf attack. The police have described the suspected shooter as a man about 5 feet 5 inches tall and weighing about 180 pounds. According to police, the gunman acted alone and that investigation is on to find the motive of the suspect. They said the all-out manhunt for the gunman is the investigators' top priority. In IPL cricket, Chennai Super Kings were 162 for 2 in 17 overs against Royal Challengers Bengaluru at Dr. D.Y. Patil Sports Academy in Navi Mumbai when reports last came in. Earlier, Royal Challengers Bengaluru won the toss and opted to bowl.
And now let us take a look at the weather update for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi will have partly cloudy sky. The minimum temperature will be around 21 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 39 degrees. Mumbai will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Minimum temperature will be 25 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 35 degrees. Chennai is likely to have partly cloudy sky. Minimum temperature will be 27 degrees Celsius and maximum is expected to be around 36 degrees. Kolkata is likely to have a partly cloudy sky. Minimum temperature will be 27 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 35 degrees. Srinagar and Jammu are expected to have partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunder shower or dust storm. Leh is likely to have generally cloudy sky, while Gilgit will have generally cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm. Muzaffarabad will have partly cloudy sky. Visakhapatnam and Puducherry will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. Guwahati, Imphal, Shillong, Aizawl, Kohima, Itanagar and Agartala will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers, and Gangtok will have thunderstorm with rain. News just in, India's COVID vaccination coverage has crossed 186 crore 5 lakh today. More than 13 lakh vaccine doses have been administered today. More than 2.31 crore vaccine doses have been administered to 12 to 14 years age groups so far. And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. India and US reaffirm commitment to promote regional stability and rule of law at 4th 2+2 ministerial dialogue. Minister of Cooperation Amit Shah emphasizes a need for transparency in cooperative sector to increase trust of small farmers in it. India, first country in the world to administer first dose of COVID vaccine to 97% of people above 18 years of age, says Health and Family Welfare Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandviya. Minister of State for Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions Dr. Jitendra Singh announces setting up of single window portal for benefit of pensioners and superannuated elder citizens. Government to set up additional 300 one-stop centers across the country to enhance safety and security of women, says Union Minister for Women and Child Development, Smriti Irani. In Uttar Pradesh, BJP registers thumping victory in State Legislative Council by winning 33 seats. And in IPL cricket, match between Royal Challengers Bangalore and Chennai Super Kings underway in Navi Mumbai. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.